Welcome back to a new video. So today I will be teaching you how to play the Pokemon trading card game. It might be a bit confusing when you started watching, because I normally do scoop series. So it's a Pokemon series where I do gameplay. This video will help you teach you the basics and make sure that when you watch the series you'll know what's happening in the game. To play the trading card game, you need a deck of 60 cards. So you can have four of one type of Pokemon. So like four basic, four evolved versions, and which evolves Pokemon, trainers, items, tool cards, and energy. So these are all of the type of energy that you'll need. So you need a water, a dark, fire, electric, steel, grass, fighting, and a psychic. So these are all of the different type of Pokemon that you'll be able to use in the trading card game. Normally you need about four basic Pokemon of one type, four stage 1 Pokemon, so it can be of the same type, and you can have the stage 2 Pokemon. Also, you'll be able to use item cards to help you search for Pokemon or evolve your Pokemon. That'll be very helpful. You can have supporter cards, which help you majority of the time just draw cards. And you might have some tool cards which I'll show you in the video. So that will help you maybe improve your Pokemon's attacks or increase their HP so they don't get knocked out. In the trading card game, you sometimes need poison and burn markers. And you need some dices just in case you know how much damage you're doing to your opponent's Pokemon. Either you can flip a coin, who wants to go first, or you can like roll a dice, because some people do evens for heads and odds for tails. There is special energy, which I will display on the screen, which sometimes they will have more effects on the energy card. These are just the basic energy cards that you need to do the attack. You can normally find pre-built decks in your local card shop or Target, Argos. That's a great way to learn how to play Pokemon. Also, you can use Pokemon Live. First, I will explain to you what the card is. So at the top, it says basic Pokemon. So you can have 5 basic Pokemon on your bench, one of them in the active spot. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh mat, because we did start playing Yu-Gi-Oh before we started playing Pokemon. But normally the active goes here, and these are my 5 bench. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But normally there is a Pokemon mat that people use, but this is a Yu-Gi-Oh mat. So at the start, this is your basic Pokemon. So this always goes first, not your stage 1 or your stage 2. This is your HP, so your hit points or your health points. So this has 70 HP, so 70 health. This is a fire type, so preferably adding a fire energy onto your Pokemon, because the other energies won't work. It says the attack and the description at the bottom. For 1 fire energy, it does blazing destruction, so you can discard a stadium if there is stadiums in play as well. So if you've got another fire energy, if you have 2 fire energy on your Pokemon in the active spot, you can do 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So you normally, if you want to do 30 damage to your opponent's Pokemon, you normally put 3 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. So right now it's 30 HP, so Pidgey, because it's a basic Pokemon, it has 20 HP left, so it survives. But if you wanted to do combustion, for example, it does 50 damage for 2 energies if you evolved it. So you can only evolve once per turn in a trading card game. So that means by doing combustion for 2 energy, it will knock out your Pidgey. Knock out the opponent's Pidgey. So if this was my first turn, and then this will be my second turn, and this will be my third turn. So the more times you evolve it, the stronger your Pokemon gets, basically. So this does 180, and it does 30 damage for each prize card you've taken. but I'll show you what prize cards means later in the video. So normally trainer cards and item cards will help you find Pokemon. During your turn, you can only place one Pokemon down per turn. So your basic, then your stage 1, then your stage 2. But sometimes you can use like rare candy. So you can evolve your Charmander all the way up to a Charizard. And you can skip the stage 1. So normally burn and poison markers. So poison is you normally put one damage in between turns. So you put one damage on your opponent's Pokemon if it's poisoned. If it retreats to the bench. So another thing on this card is the retreat cost. So if you have so this symbol means it requires 2 energy to retreat that Pokemon. So if you have 2 energies on it and you want to retreat it, this will get discarded and you can retreat this Pokemon. If it only has one retreat, if it has only 1 energy, you can't retreat your Pokemon. Normally in like video games, there's like resistance and weakness. I don't want it to be still an active spot. If I do retreat, the poison goes away because this is your bench, so it's safe. So it recovers from all special conditions like burn as well. So if it's burned, you normally you put one damage counter if it's burned, and I think you flip a coin. I'm not really sure what the proper ruling is, but you normally flip a coin. If it's heads, it recovers from burn, I think. But if not, then it still continues staying burned. There is also sleep. So there are some Pokemon that can um, there are some Pokemon that will make your opponent's Pokemon asleep, like Jigglypuff, for example. So if my Pokemon was asleep, it would stay asleep in between turns until I flip heads, and it will awake from sleeping. Another special condition is um, confused. So if it's confused, it normally goes upside down. See if it's confused. And if you flip tails, you have to put 3 damage onto yourself. But if not, if you get heads, it recovers from being confused. There is one more condition, which is paralysis. So if your Pokemon is paralyzed, it cannot attack or retreat for 1 turn. So your Pokemon is basically stuck in the active unless you use a item card, for example, a prime catcher, for example. So this will switch out your active Pokemon to the bench, or you can use like a switch card. So switch your active Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, and this will help you switch it out um, so you can attack with another Pokemon. But if you don't have switch or like prime catcher, it will stay in the active spot and you can't attack or retreat during that turn. So this is just basically all of the rules that come up when you're playing Pokemon. You normally evolve once per turn. You can add energy once per turn, or you can use like item cards or supporter cards to add more energy if it says on the card. This is like a stadium. So stadiums are it stays on the field. It sometimes can be used by both players if you have the same effect or same Pokemon, and both players can use the stadium. If you want to put another stadium down, the stadium that you have before gets discarded into the discard pile. So you can only have one stadium out at the same time. So one final thing, each Pokemon have abilities. So when you read this Pokemon, it says whenever you evolve this Pokemon, you can search your deck for 3 fire energies and you can attach it to your Pokemon. So different Pokemon have different abilities. So in older era of Pokemon, there was GX cards with GX abilities. There was V-Star cards with V-Star ability. I showed them up on the video, and you could use the GX or the V-Star abilities. I think once per game because it was so powerful. But normal abilities you can do it every turn, except for um, if it's like evolving into a Pokemon that has that ability, then you can only use that once. So that different Pokemon have different abilities that you can use. So like this Pidgeot EX, you can search for one card each turn, which is very powerful, and you can search your deck for any card. Also, the clear symbol means that it requires any type of energy. So you can add a dark and a grass, a dark and a steel and a fire. So any type of energy you can add to a colorless cost, except for the ones that require like two fire or three fire or three dark. Normal, I'll give a quick demonstration on how to set up and play the Pokemon TCG game. So you know, normally just like shuffle your cards into. So you draw seven cards. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So this is your discard pile. This is your hand. So look, we've got a Charmander in our first hand. So we can put our Charmander down. We have no other basics that we can put on the bench, but we can put other basics down if we wish. Now you take six prize cards. So these are your prize cards. So if you knock out your opponent's Pokemon, you take one prize card. Sometimes there are V cards or V Star cards, like V Max cards as well. That require you can take two prize cards when it's knocked out. Sometimes it requires three, like V Max cards. I'll list a few in the video. And your basic Pokemon, you can only take one. So sometimes, if there is a V Star, a V Max Pokemon, you can take three prize cards and put them into your hand. So normally, you during your first turn, you cannot use a supporter during your first turn. You can only do that during your second turn. But you can attach an energy, and you cannot attack during your first turn as well. So I will end my turn attaching the energy to Charmander, and will be my opponent's turn. So I'll draw again, and look, I got Ultra Ball, which is very helpful. So now I think I will attach another energy to Charmander, and I will use Ultra Ball. So I will you have to discard two cards. So I will discard a Pidgeot EX and a Arcanine EX. Because you have to discard two cards to use this, and I can search for any Pokemon. So I'll get Charmeleon. So normally I can do attack which does 60 damage because I've got two energies now, and I have to discard the top three cards of your deck. Basically, you need to just do what the card effect says on the card. But the attack is the last thing you do in the Pokemon trading card game. So you can do all of your items, supporters, you can do whatever you want. So I would use Professor Research. So I'll discard my hand and then I will draw seven cards. Because this support is like very powerful. A lot of people use it in the Pokemon TCG. So this is my hand. Look, we've got Charizard. So now I would wait my turn. I've attacked for 60 and I've discarded the three cards as the cost for it. And it'll be my opponent's turn. And then it'll be back to me. If my Charmeleon has survived, I will evolve this to Charizard. I will do more damage. But normally you do need to put backup Pokemon on your bench when your active Pokemon does get knocked out. So this is the um, basics on how to play the game. Normally, when you take when you knock out your opponent's Pokemon, like one or two, you can take your two prize cards, which was from your deck, and you can put them into your hand and just continue playing like that until all of the prize cards are finished or your opponents have no active Pokemon, or you've knocked out all of your opponent's Pokemon. So that's how you start playing the Pokemon trading card game. Normally, it does come with practice. So the more you learn the different ways. Different decks do different things. So hopefully, this video has helped you out how to start playing the trading card game. So if there's any things that I haven't talked about in this video, let me know in the comments down below. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.